My name is Ian Rankin and I write crime novels. Of my own books, I mean, I've got a few favourites, but the one that really gave me confidence that I knew what I was doing was a book called Black and Blue. It wasn't near the beginning of the Inspector Rebus series. It was about 7 or 8 books in. Everything before that was an apprenticeship. It was me getting to know the form, the structure, getting to know what you can and cannot do with a crime novel, getting more confident that I could push it a little bit further. And by the time I got to that book, Rebus, the detective, is fully formed as a character. The plot is more complex than previous stories. The book is a lot longer. The themes are a lot stronger. And geographically, the book covers a lot more territory. So it's a much bigger, more confident book and a much more ambitious book. And it was rewarded with the Gold Dagger at the end of the year it was published, which was given out to the best crime novel published that year. So not only did that give me confidence that I knew what I was doing and I was going to make it as a crime writer, make it as a full-time career, but it gave my publisher confidence that I knew what I was doing, so they were happy to keep on publishing me as well. Inspector Rebus isn't based on anyone at all. I'd made the mistake early on in my career of writing about my real town where I grew up and using the names that were also the names of real people. So for example, in my very first book, The Flood, set in my hometown, there's a character called Sandy. I had a good friend at school called Sandy, he thought that was him. A character in it called Darach, I had a school teacher called Darach, he thought that was him. So Rebus has got a completely fictitious name. The name Rebus I didn't even realise was a real name. It means picture puzzle. But I discovered later on that actually it's also a Polish surname. So we find out later on in the series that Rebus has Polish roots, which I didn't know when I started the series. He doesn't come from anywhere. I mean, he was 40 years old in the first book. I was in my early 20s, so he didn't resemble me. He was brought up in the same village as me, but he left school at 15, 16. Instead of going to university or college, he got a job in the army, then eventually joined the police. I went straight to university. Rebus, when we first met him, had been married. He was divorced with a kid. When I invented him, I wasn't married and had no kids. So he was very unlike me in many ways, so that nobody could see me in him. He was a purpose-built fictional character. Lots of cops since then have told me, oh, he's obviously based on someone I know, it's obviously based on someone they know that they work with, or he's even based on them. So people can see things in Rebus that are realistic enough for them to think he is based on a real person. But honestly, he came from the inside of my head and nowhere else. My books have been filmed quite a few times. The Rebus novels have been filmed with 2 different actors. John Hannah was in, I think, 4 films based on the books, and Ken Stott, the actor, was in about 7 or 8 based on the books. Another book of mine called Doors Open, which was a standalone novel about a heist in an art gallery, was filmed with Stephen Fry. And that was good fun. Of the books that I've written that have never been filmed, I would love to see a film of my graphic novel, which was called Dark Entries, and it was a graphic novel for DC Comics in America, using one of their characters called John Constantine. And he's like a private eye, but a private eye who deals with the paranormal, the supernatural. He deals with demons. And it was filmed actually. Constantine was filmed with Keanu Reeves, but I would like to see my storyline filmed. And who would play him? It wouldn't be Keanu Reeves this time. It'd have to be someone English. Maybe Gary Oldman. Gary Oldman would make a pretty good main character. If you're trying to be a writer, short stories or novels, whatever, there's a lot of advice I can give, but in fact, I think The Guardian did as well ago. If you go to the Guardian website and look up Ian Rankin, you'll find that they asked many writers for their top 10 tips on becoming a writer. And off the top of my head, the ones that I gave, number 1 was get lucky, number 10 was stay lucky. And in between it was stuff like read a lot, write a lot, take criticism, but learn what criticism is useful to you and what criticism isn't. Get a hard skin on you so that you can take rejection, because you are going to get a lot of rejection. Keep learning, never give up. Keep your antennae twitching for stories, because stories are all around us. Characters are all around us. They're just waiting for us to discover them. Keep a journal maybe, because it's useful if you write every day. even if it's just a little bit of stuff. A few lines a day is important. And never lose your childlike sense of wonder, because writers are really just children who refuse to grow up. We are Peter Pan figures. We are still playing games with our imaginary friends, role-playing games with our imaginary friends. All children do it. All children have this extraordinary internal creative life of the imagination and play, and writers just get paid for it.
If I need to find a body, where can I find it? And so we get involved with them more that way. That's more fun for me.